When I was a kid, we didn't have much. I never really knew that, though. We always had enough. My sister and I got free lunch tokens at school, but sometimes when the cafeteria was serving something we didn't like, we would go home for lunch. Mom never complained. She would hum her favorite song while she served us soup or bread or even rice with a little milk. That was always special. We always went back to school with our stomachs full. Years later, I found out that those days when my sister and I went home unexpectedly, that the lunch we ate was our mother's. While we went back to school full, Mother spent the rest of the afternoon hungry. She gave away her portion without ever saying one word. To this day, no one has ever loved me like that.
Don't need to be alone.
Don't need to be alone.
No need to be alone.
No need to be alone. It's real love. It's real love. It's real love. It's real.
From this moment on, I know exactly where my life will go. Seems that all I really was doing was waiting for love. Don't need to be afraid.
Don't need to be afraid.
No need to be afraid.
No need to be afraid. It's real love. It's real love. It's real love. It's real.
Don't need to be alone.
Don't need to be alone. No need to be alone. It's real love. It's real love. It's real love. It's real.
Thought I'd been in love before, but in my heart I wanted more. Seems that all I really was doing was waiting for love.
I live in a box. I am so afraid of being like everybody else that I don't know how to be myself. My biography is a blank page, an empty, cardboard box.
I live in a box, a frame, a prison, locking out emotion, locking in numbness, feeling lost, wire-trapped within a cage, feeling alone when I'm surrounded by people.
I live in a box of cold brick walls where kids sharpie their initials when the teacher isn't looking, where the girls whisper and snicker and laugh the instant my back is turned, because my clothes are hand-me-downs and my shoulders slump, and my words will never be prissy enough, and my face will never be pretty enough, and I will never be enough.
My box is anxiety,
Fear, doubt,
Insecurity.
My box is folded out loose-leaf paper covered in secrets no one will ever read.
My box is a memory that replays in my head over and over and over and over.
My box is painted with words I was never supposed to hear.
My box is someone else's sins, piles up around me like stacks of newspapers.
My box is so tight that I can't breathe, so tight that it conforms to my skin like a latex glove.
My box is tomorrow, the glue on the soles of my shoes that keeps me from moving forward.
There is so much that I can do, see, be, so much that exists outside the confines of my box.
Drop the frame.
Watch it break.
Break and breathe. If your box is silence, speak.
If your box is quiet, scream.
If your box is fear, dream.
I live in a box, but I will break free.
When I was 17, I dropped my best friend at his house after orchestra rehearsal. He leaned in my car window and said, "Let's make plans tomorrow for the weekend." But the next day, he wasn't there. 3 days passed. His mom finally answered the phone. When I asked for John, she burst into tears. The night I dropped him off, he had attempted suicide. He was hospitalized for 6 months. All that while we exchanged letters. I was the only friend who wrote. 5 years later, he shows me the letters I wrote him and said, "They saved his life. I saved someone's life." Signed, Anonymous.
I've had a stutter since I was little. I'm always worried about speaking. The school tried to help with speech therapy, but that never helped. I can think of the words that I want to say, but on the way out, they don't seem like they want to leave. Every time I open my mouth, I feel like I'm burdening people. It takes so long to say a single sentence. Signed, Anonymous.
Always excelled at work, always overkill. great reviews, always took pride in everything I did, but I learned you can get fired for all the wrong reasons. I'm now unemployed and I can't figure out why. Signed, Anonymous.
I was born deaf. I am happy. The biggest lesson I learned is do not be afraid. I won't let anyone pull me down. I am so damn proud of being deaf and Christian. Signed, Anonymous.
I had this great job, earning $300,000 a year, making rich people richer. But my son didn't want to follow the map I laid out for him. He started robbing places when he was a teenager. One day, I was standing outside the courtroom with my ex-husband and a sea of other parents who had called off their minimum wage jobs to take the bus or walk to this cold, ominous federal building. And here I was, this rich mother, surrounded by poor mothers, wondering where I had gone wrong. And then my son came out in his blue jumpsuit and his hands cuffed behind his back and his black and blue eye. And I was so embarrassed. My son committed suicide in his solitary confinement cell 3 days before his 25th birthday. Signed, Anonymous.
I met my mom when I was 19. There was an accident. She had 2 other kids, and as they gotten older, they've reached out to me. My sister, she said she wanted to meet me, she wanted to talk to me, she loved me, she missed me. I've never even met this girl. But I decided I was going to meet her. But I told her beforehand, I don't plan on meeting your mom. I don't want to talk to her. I'm just going to meet you. Well, I met her. And as I was standing there, I looked off, and I saw this woman walking towards us. She was crying. She was saying, I love you, I love you. I just couldn't bring myself to say I love you back. Signed, Anonymous.
I'm just trying to be a decent human being. I want to give love and hope to everyone around me, but it's hard with anxiety. I struggle day to day, but I won't let it rule my life. I want to be the best I can be for myself. Not only myself, but my loved ones and everyone I meet. I want to be the change I want to see in the world. I just need to get over the worry and the being scared. I'll make it. Signed, Anonymous.
Love doesn't feel how I expected it to feel. There's something wrong, and I know it's me. Maybe it's depression, or I don't know. I can't put a name to it, but I feel like I'm trapped inside of an invisible box, and nothing can get in, and nothing can get out. And when I talk, I hear my words echoing over and over again, saying all the wrong things. Love should be beautiful, but the ugliness inside of me is distorting it. He's so perfect, and I'm so damaged. Even when we're face to face, I feel like we're light years away. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know how to fix me. Signed, Anonymous. Everything within me aches to jump between the lines. Tiptoe on the edge of earth, close my eyes and dive. Build a bridge that spans the chasm growing in my brain. Ride electric waves of synapses ablaze. Inches separate us, so why am I light years away? You are the sun, I'm the moon, forever chasing your beautiful flames into negative spaces. I grew up around drug dealers, bouncing from home to home. I prostituted myself for $300, $400, just so I could have a bed to sleep in that night. I let filthy, horny men take me home. But sometimes the way they looked at me scared me too much. And I would wait until they go into another room, and I would run outside and just keep running until my legs gave out, until I couldn't breathe. I train hopped to get from city to city. While I was train hopping, I met him. I knew he wasn't safe. I saw the way he manipulated people with that charming grin. He could walk up to anybody and convince them to give him money. We walked through the park every day, and I would see the way he talked to people. Lie to their faces, slip onto their defenses with that charming grin. It was beautiful and terrifying. One day, he pulled me behind a tree, shoved me down with that charming grin, his eyes glowing. He dug his hands into the dirt, and then he started to finger me. He said it was to cleanse me, and then he raped me. I slapped him and screamed, and he smiled. Good, he said. You fought back. I hopped a train the next day. When I got to a new city, I went back to my old routine, living until I ran out of money, and then selling myself for a night. Once, a man cut my neck with a butcher knife when I tried to run away. I called the police, but they didn't do anything. They told me to file, but I didn't even know the man's name. No one seemed to understand that I was the victim. This older man took me in for a while. He was good to me. He bought me cigs and even tried to find me a job. He was the only man in my life who didn't want to have sex with me. Being a girl and homeless is... Sometimes you have to do things that you don't want to do. And the more you do those things, the less of yourself there is. I don't know who I am anymore. Sometimes I get a glimpse of who I was. 13 years old and innocent, dancing in the sun, light glinting off my hair. Sometimes I let myself dance, like a feather, weightless and graceful. Sometimes I let myself believe in beauty again, just for a split second. And then the darkness surrounds me, and I disappear.
Darkness is the absolute absence of light. That's not true. Darkness is not an absence, but a presence, active and alive. It breathes, it speaks, it hungers. The darkness knows my name, and she calls to me. I scream at the top of my lungs, but only silence comes out, like I'm stuck in a dream. I don't sleep, can't sleep. Or maybe I am asleep and I can't wake up. At night, I dream of falling into a castle. It's not the falling that scares me. It's the landing. It's knowing that once I reach the rocky bottom of my castle, I would be too broken to climb back up. I would be alone. The darkness. Forever. At night, I dream of falling into a chasm. But it's not night. I'm not sleeping. I'm not dreaming. I'm only falling. Darkness holds my hand. She is cold like the metal razor I weigh in my palm. I know what she wants me to do. And I am so tired. I can't sleep, can't breathe. At night, I dream of falling into a chasm. But falling doesn't scare me anymore. Darkness holds my hand, guides my knife. As I carve a chasm into my arm, I carve a chasm and I close my eyes. And I dive in. I see red. 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 In my tears I see red. In my teeth I see red. In my dreams I see red. In my hands I see red. In my veins I see red. In my soul I see red. In my chasm I burn red. Breathe red. See red. Scream red. Bleed red. Drown red. Red, red, red! I am a chasm. She I don't know who found me. I remember drowning in red, so much red, and a voice 1,000 miles away yelling, "Why? Why?" And I couldn't respond. Days later, drowning in painkillers, my chasm stitched shut. They asked me why. Why? But I wouldn't respond. Years of drowning in the darkness. I touched the scars embossed on my wrists and remembered what it was like to dive into a chasm, believing that I would never climb back up again and that I would be alone with the darkness forever. Years of looking up at the sky from the very pit of my chasm and longing for light. Years of climbing, slipping down, climbing again. Every time I fall, it hurts more. But every time I climb a little closer to the light, I realize that the pain is worth it. I don't see red anymore. I see blue. Blue sky. Years. People see the scars on my wrists, and they ask me why. Why? And I respond, the devil made me do it. But she doesn't control me anymore.
I know that you saw what I saw under that same star, because I saw it too. I know that it made you feel as good as I did to make it through that painful night and witness another sunrise with me. Our eyes met as humans, and I saw that you had been crying too when no one else was around, where you thought it was safe. I know that look. It's one that we share. We sounded just alike for a second as we both let out a sigh of exhaustion. Tears condensed into a breath of consequence. Life paints us in blues and grays sometimes, a result of us not having all the answers. Sometimes we're in that room together, sorting through our difficulties in separate corners while acknowledging the presence of others, trying to discover the panacea for all our ills. I grip our chests as I feel the disappointment in myself and my flesh. I let you down. We deserved better for us. We've been given another day. Let's try again tomorrow. And then, that same star we saw miles apart from one another made its way back into the sky. And we saw it at the same time and were encouraged, reminded that our power lies in our potential, the possibility of amazing every minute, every second. No matter how terrible the life, the people in that life, or the circumstances surrounding it, we have the beautiful capacity to overcome. We shall overcome. We shall come over, introduce ourselves, and embrace our potential to be different, to be better than the limitations of our physical selves at any given moment. No matter the past, no matter the pain, it helps to have a family like ours, where we are never truly alone, for there is always someone under these same stars that are becoming new creatures as we speak. And it is truly a wonderful, painfully beautiful life when you know that you have that very same power. No matter the room you inhabit, it can always be different, as we are all akin.
I got this theory that some souls get lost on their way to heaven and get stuck where we can see them. Stars. I kind of hope that's true. I'm not heaven material, but it'd be okay if I could be a star. Don't think I'd be the brightest, but I'd certainly shine as bright as I could. That's more than I can say I've done here. I got a home now. Got a bed that feels like a marshmallow. Sometimes I'm afraid I'll sink right through to the floor. I got walls and a fridge stocked with food and a roof over my head. But the silly thing is, sometimes I wish I could peel the roof off like the lid of a jar just so I could see the stars again. They've been my only friends for years, and now they seem so far away.
tragedy, wonder, loss and triumph. This project began almost 2 years ago. I set out into the streets of Over the Rhine and began interviewing complete strangers about their lives, specifically their greatest personal challenges. A lot of times I got blown off, but once in a blue moon, someone would be brave enough to share a moment, a memory, a challenge, a triumph. They told me about experiences that I could scarcely imagine, from drug addiction to sexual abuse, living in extreme poverty, being abandoned by their parents. But they also told me how they had survived against all odds, and what's more, they had found hope in the most horrific of places. I also collected written stories, more than 200, all of them local, all of them anonymous. Some of them were pages long, others only a sentence. You could tell the artist's stories because they were written in poetry or portraits instead of paragraphs. But once again, actually over and over again, I was amazed by the courage of these strangers to share some of their darkest secrets and their highest hopes with a complete stranger. You're holding one of these anonymous letters right now. When you entered, you picked up a program, and with it, you picked up a story. Now, all of these stories are anonymous, all of them are true, and all of them are local. They could belong to someone sitting next to you. They could belong to the man that loiters across the street and asks for donations. They could belong to someone that you pass every day, but would never, ever talk to. You don't have to keep this story, but you do have to read it. Someone in this city, perhaps in this room, has shared a small fragment of their life with you so that you can learn from it. It's necessary to note that every story contained in this show comes from those interviews and letters. Every story is true, every story is local, and every story is anonymous. Every movement, every lyric, every poem comes from a specific story that was shared with me throughout the past 2 years. And every monologue is a story that was shared verbatim. There's no fiction, just a lot of truth told in a very different way. Everyone has a story, and everyone's story is different, but everyone's story deserves to be told.
I am the grocery store attendant you don't notice behind the counter.
I am the U.S. veteran, standing in a street corner with a cardboard sign.
I am the single mother of 3 young children, fighting to keep them from living on the streets.
I am the girl who was assaulted in high school and never told anyone.
I am the divorcee who lost his job, home, kids, car, and hope.
I am the man who was kicked out of his home for admitting to his family that he was gay.
I am the woman dying of cancer before she even learned how to live.
I'm the white-collar soccer mom, hiding bruises from her abusive husband beneath long-sleeved button-down shirts.
I am the teenager who prostituted herself to earn money to pay for college.
I am the girl trying to be independent and strong, even when the world seems determined to tear her down.
I am the quarterback who was kicked out of school for doing steroids.
I am the man who spent the better part of his life in jail for making a stupid mistake.
I am the quiet child in the classroom, the one you bullied and laughed at.
I am the face you've already forgotten.
I am the story you'll never hear.
I am the person sitting next to you.
I am
you.
you.